Grab a cup of coffee in your favorite mug, get out those art supplies, and tune out the demons for Let's Make Comics with Stephen Emond. Tune them out, I said. You can do this. Don't listen to those voices for the love of everything. Just make comics.
Hey everybody, I am at Steve Emond, or at Stephen Emond Art if you're on Instagram.
Awesome. I am at Spooky Chan, almost anywhere on the internet.
Yeah, you lucked out. I was stupid to give myself a different name. Like, it should just be Steve Emond across the board. I do have a Steve Emond Instagram, but it's like, I wanted to separate my Instagram into one that's hyper focused on art and, you know, the Machina Corp stuff and professional things, and then the other one's like pictures of skies and memes and cats and whatever. Like, that's just a shit post one. And every time somebody follows me, it's on the shit post one, and I'm like, no, you're on the wrong. But I post there a lot because it has more followers than my other one does. It's
Right.
I've created an absolute nightmare of the worst imaginings.
Right. Well, I have like 1 million social accounts, and I'm like, I just stick to one mostly.
Yeah, you're kind of mostly on Twitter.
Right.
And I'm like anytime I post on Twitter, like 90% of the time nobody responds to it, or like, you know, the same couple people do, which I'm thankful for, but it gets so little traction. But when I post stuff on like Instagram, I get no traction anywhere. So, somehow in my head, I feel like I'm a little more successful on Instagram, so I tend to go there more. It's frustrating. All right, so just a disclaimer, we're going to talk about social media as comic artists, as comic writers, as comic professionals, using social media. By the end of this video, we will answer the question, is it necessary to have social media? The answer is yes. I mean, we'll find out what the answer is.
I was going to say spoiler alert.
Yes. And another spoiler, I'm going to be frustrated the whole time because part of my goal for this year is to increase my social media presence. And I've learned that no matter how much I increase my presence, people just don't care. It's been a frustrating, painful experience trying to grow my social media following and be more outgoing with my social media self online on the internet.
It's hard because, like, what do you do mostly? Do you be professional all the time and only post artwork and be like always on? Or do you be a person and talk like a person and connect with your followers that way? Or do you mix it up and do both?
Yeah, because I mean, like, a lot of social media is, you see everybody's best selves, you see their best news, you see their happiest stuff, and it makes you feel like crap about yourself because you're like, oh my god, these people, they have movie deals, they have book deals, they have new comics out, they're happy and married and in love, and they're on vacation again, and they just bought a new house, and it's like, but they're not showing you the crappy stuff. Like,
right. Well, there's a difference between our Twitters, obviously. If you tuned in last time, you found out that Chan has sad Twitter.
You're on depressed Twitter, and I'm on like highly successful professional Twitter.
Okay, so the people I follow mostly are comic professionals, comic book publishers, editors, artists, writers, the whole gambit. And I always, like, you see some successes. You see Gail Simone trolling everybody and their
She's-
brother, which is always fun.
She's great, yeah.
Oh God, is she great?
Big props to Gail Simone. She's always entertaining. That's like a great way to use Twitter, is to just entertain people.
From her, I learned the British method of making tea is to put a glass of water, tea bag, Lipton specifically, and put it in the microwave. And beep, beep. That's the British method.
Wow. Okay.
She's a fucking troll. But that's the thing. Like, she's a writer, and she knows that she doesn't have artwork to show off all the time. So she shows off her wits and her humor and makes it really entertaining. And sometimes she'll have a side of like a serious moment, but usually she's doing troll-like things, but it's always tongue-in-cheek. Like,
so you mentioned she's a writer, so she's using Twitter as a writer. She's coming up with these clever things. She's getting people worked up. So there's this line where, for the longest time, I've been trying to change my social media habits, and I've been trying to use it more effectively, whereas I used to just be like, I have a New Kids on the Block song in my head. I'm going to write some lyrics like, you got the right stuff or whatever. And then I'd be like, what the hell? Nobody likes it. Like, it's the freaking New Kids. What's wrong with you people? And like, do you use social media for shit posting and just being random, which is how my brain works? That's just the way I am. So I think I'm being personable and funny, but I'm really just saying random stuff. But so when she does funny things, she's thinking as a writer, she's writing. Like, in a way, people are constantly trying to churn out art. Like, I have to post every day, and this didn't get as many likes as that. Like, people are working for free, just putting stuff out on social media, trying to get people to engage with them. Like, it's approached as a job in a lot of ways. You don't make it look that way.
I think, like, the people that are successful on being really, like, putting work out there all the time and using it as a job, that doesn't always equate to dollars. It doesn't always equate to other things like that. I've seen, like, this is like a farce of sorts.
I mean, when I talk about how this year I want to grow my, like, I'm not trying to make, I have to change my battery pack. All right. Sorry, camera. I'm not trying to make money this year. Like, my sole goal is to engage people, entertain people, and hopefully build up more of a fan base than I currently have. So that is a form of currency when people and they retweet. When you like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, that's a form of currency. That's really actively helping me, because that's spreading the word about my channel and my YouTube videos, and that feeds back to social media, and that helps me in my goals.
Absolutely. But I mean, I think some people work themselves to the bone for no apparent reason without actually applying themselves.
Some people, it's a sickness. Like, some people they get very addicted to it, and something goes viral and it takes off, and they just want to constantly recreate that, and they think they're failing if they don't. Like, some people are unhealthy with social media.
Right. No, it's true. I mean, for me, if you haven't figured it out, people watching, my Twitter is a mix of art, personal things of the day, interacting with people, and like a whole host of things, even random shit. The other day I tweeted, if someone chips their tooth, do they end up swallowing it?
Yeah, that was nasty. What's wrong with you? Once I tweeted that the average adult swallows 8 spiders in their sleeps per year or something like that.
Per month or something.
Yeah, it was something like that. People are like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why'd you do this? I'm going to bed. I had just read it somewhere. I have no idea if it's true or not.
No, I think that's I don't think that's an urban legend. I think that's I've heard that several times.
I don't like it.
Well, unfortunately, you're going to get some protein in you no matter what.
Oh, man, I probably like spinning webs down there. Ugh.
uh, so, okay, so social media, I think, is actually really relevant to people understanding who you are. The unfortunate thing is we do either we cover ourselves and show the best parts, or sometimes we let it all hang out.
And it's weird. There are people that like both things. Like, there are people that go, oh, wow, this person's really successful. Like, I follow you. I just want to see your art. Like, if I see lots of art, okay, I'm going to follow you. And then there are other people who are like I've tweeted before, like, man, I hate that I don't have like convention appearances and this appearance and I got this book. Like, some people just market constantly. And I'm
Right.
like, I'm just posting song lyrics. I suck. And then people will be like, no, that's like so much more interesting. Like, we hate just seeing somebody market constantly.
Right, because that doesn't, you don't know much about the person other than they'll be somewhere. And it's almost like, when you post the song lyrics, we get to learn something about you. We get to know you a little bit more. I post about broken tooth. Do you swallow it? We get to learn that I'm a weird person, in some, in a very mundane kind of way. Like,
and it's weird. So, like, I've been reading a lot about Instagram and Twitter and how to use it. And so they'll say stuff like on Twitter, like, people are going to follow you because they like your art. So post art. If you start posting other stuff, they're going to unfollow because they're not interested in the other stuff. And like, so we look at your Twitter, it's not by any stretch of the imagination just comic stuff. You're talking about drag queens a lot. You're talking about Venture Brothers a lot. I mean, you have all these different fan interests. What'd you say?
I was going to say interest.
I was trying really hard to avoid the word nerddubs.
Oh, no!
But you have lots of fan interests, and those are things that you engage with other people. So a lot of times you're using Twitter not as the professional trying to curate your fans, but as a fan of things, kind of geeking out with other fans.
Right. I also post politics and stuff like that. What I try to do is I try to keep things pretty low key when it comes to politics and anything kind of doom or anything like that, because I figure most people are already seeing all these articles and are inundated with all these things, that they don't need me to actually be another place that you find them. So I try to refrain from doing that too much, even though I want to be very politically minded and very much like a part of a group and like pass on certain ideas, because that's me. That's the thing. Like, I have never shied away from being me online, except for the fact that I've tried to hide more of my depression. I will talk about it, but usually you will not find me saying like, I'm going to kill myself tonight. Goodbye, everyone.
Oof, depressed Twitter.
I have seen
hashtag
people,
depressed Twitter.
I have seen people who are like, I'm at the end, and like, oh my god, hi, how are you? And I mean, like, I know it's a cry for attention sometimes, and I want to always be there. But I see people on Instagram. One of my dearest friends post pictures of themselves, really sad and really gloomy, and I won't like the photo because I don't want to promote sad and gloomy, but I want to support them.
That's a weird thing with the likes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to like that. I want to see, like, I'm fine with like moods and like emoting and whatnot, and like having a full range of thing, and no one should be on all the time and be happy and show me a
Yeah.
smile. But
Because
sometimes
that does a disservice to people, especially people that are struggling. We've kind of segued away from comics Twitter into depressed Twitter. But let's see here. Other things I wanted to talk about. So for me, it's effort. I think for a lot of people, firing off a tweet, like I'll like text you or text one of my other friends or something whenever I think of something that I think is funny. Other people will go right to Twitter. Like sometimes I read Twitter and people will like pose questions or they'll say something and I'll think like, what inspired you to start talking randomly to the public about this? Like I will address this thing on Twitter and put this out into the world, where I just don't think that way. So like for me, if I want to do social media stuff, I almost have to approach it. Like it takes effort for me. Like I have to sit there with a sketchbook and think, what do I want to talk about? What things can I tweet about? Like I'm just not good at picking it up and just casually. I don't know why, because I can text that way. I can banter with you. I consider myself like an interesting and witty person, but it does not translate to Twitter. And whenever I do try to be funny on Twitter, it comes across like forced, and I don't know how to word it right, so it sounds like a tweet.
Well, so one of the things, like I have problems reaching out to people a lot of times and burdening people with like, "Hi, it's me." I mean, I've gotten better at it.
Online on Twitter?
No, let's just say in general in life.
Okay.
Like, I'm much better at it than I used to be. But like, never do phone calls. Don't text my friends all that often because it's like, what am I going to say to them? Whatever. But it's like, I've got all these ideas and all these thoughts. I need to put them somewhere. And it's like, it's almost cathartic in a way to just like spill out the brain matter into some capacity, into like a container like Twitter. And then see who else identifies with that. And have a conversation with either a stranger or somebody that I've now become friends with because of Twitter. Like, we now meet on some kind of level. And I'm also reading other people's similar thinking on Twitter. And I relate to them and I talk to them, whatever. But because I have such a weird disconnect sometimes with people, like I don't know how to talk to people. So Twitter is my way of talking to people in that way of, hi, I've got ideas. Someone please talk to me.
It's so weird when you do that. Like for me, at least, I do that, and I think I've come up with a witty idea or something interesting, and I actually want people's feedback. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's crickets. Like, so I have maybe 600 followers. I'm sure a lot of those are like defunct, or they don't interact enough that it doesn't even show them my tweets. Like with the whole YouTube thing here, I'm constantly talking about like you have to, if you see something and you like it, like you have to, otherwise it's just not going to show you. Like people assume if you make a video or make a tweet or make an Instagram post, like, oh, everybody will see it, but it doesn't. They only show it to a small portion of people. And those people like never respond. So when I'm on Twitter, it's like, I'm going to put out this nice idea, and then like 3 hours later, like it's just nothing. And then I go, you know what? You guys don't deserve my idea. I'm going to delete that now. Like, I haven't even wanted that.
I would leave it. I mean, that's what I do. Not all of my tweets are successful. Having hard traction on this one tweet right now. It's so funny thinking about this. I posted a tweet, a little meme of like artist questions.
Oh yeah.
It's like 30 of them, and I said,
I was secretly thinking that would make an interesting YouTube video, just going down the line.
I mean, yeah, we could absolutely do that because it's a fun little questionnaire. And I pretty much told my followers, like, pick a number and I'll answer something. And I got you, I got my cousin Lindsay, and I got one other person to do it, and that's it.
Yeah.
I thought I would get more traction or more interest, and there is no interest there. And I don't know if it's because is an image, is it hidden from people? Do people don't care about my process? Like,
Yeah, I never know why certain things people are like into and they'll talk to you about, and other times like you think like, oh, this is going to be really funny. Like people are going to be super into this, and it's just nothing. And it's like, all right.
Right. Well, I mean, like I was telling you before, I posted a picture last night of myself, and it just says hi. And it's a picture of me looking, all dolled up. And I got so many likes on that. Whereas, like, sometimes the artwork, and it's like, post that, and it's like, maybe 2-3 people like it, and then you feel defeated. It's like, okay, what, should I post selfies all the time? Like, it's very aggravating. It's like, am I good? Is this an indicator of I need to do more work on myself as a creator and artwork? Or is it a system of algorithm?
Yeah, it's a good question.
And I think that's the problem, because right now you're facing, why doesn't anybody like this? And it's almost like a personal offense because no one says anything or likes it or whatever.
It's been a struggle this year because, most years I'm spending all my time working on publishing, on books. I'm working with agents and publishers and trying to get, whatever next project going. And this year, like, my only goal is to get more fans, to give out free content, doing all these YouTube videos. And it's tough. Like, it's been, we're going into the 5th month of it now, and I feel like it's incredibly slow growth, and I still feel like I post things and just nobody cares, and I'm still trying, and I'm still trying to learn, and I'm trying to get I'm trying to understand the mentality of it. And there are lots of these YouTube videos that are like, you have to curate very specifically, you have to ask very engaging questions, all these things that I'm like, oh man, I gotta like really sit down and work at this and take lots of notes, and I feel like I'm in some kind of college course or something.
Right.
And I'm just trying to share and get along with people and entertain. Like, you wouldn't think it would be that difficult, but it is.
It is difficult. I mean, like, I've been on Twitter since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't. I've got 2,000 something, like 650 something followers right now, and it kind of sits there.
Yeah.
It grows by 1, and then decreases by 1, 2. 1, 2, 2.
Let me ask you this. Do you ever give thought, like I've been hyper focused on how can I increase my followers, and that's not out of being like, not out of ego or like I need people to follow me, but this goes into my next point. Social media is necessary. When we did our Kickstarter, I was kind of disappointed in how few people that I knew and that followed me contributed to that. Whereas you had a very loyal following. So you may only have your 2,000 whatever, but you have extremely loyal fans that are really into what you do. And they show up when you need them. And I was thinking, I don't really have that. And I need that. I think it would help me in terms of mainstream publishing and getting things done. I think it would help in terms of Machina Corps. I want our company to build up a big following and not, take 15 years to slowly increase. I want to like get those numbers up there because it's going to help us when we work on new projects. I have this webcomic I'm doing that eventually I'd like to print, but I can't print it unless people follow it. So,
right. Because what we're doing as a little company is we're growing from the ground up based on just 2 people and the connections that we have already. Therefore, like, if we grow our connections, our following and whatnot, Machina Corps can grow too. will have an audience. People will buy things from it.
Yeah. The more people we have following us, the more we can create new projects and do new Kickstarters and Patreons and ways to, earn money so that we can spend more time doing things and, grow, expand. And that's kind of the first step, I think. It's been a lot of work. And I think without an audience, you don't have anybody to sell something to. Nobody's going to buy the products you're working on.
Because not everything is viral. And I don't, neither you or I have really done anything really viral, which is unfortunate. But I think to become viral, you have to be the right time at the right place.
Yeah, I think it's rarely planned.
It's not planned, and it's always dumb luck that somebody's like, oh, I really get this.
Yeah. So let's do real quick pros and cons of social media.
Time consuming.
That's con.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time consuming. Sometimes I do get frustrated when I'm like, oh my God, we got to be working on so many things and we have these videos to do and I need these things from you. And you'll just be on like Twitter forever and I'll be like, oh my God, you got to get off Twitter. But and then I don't spend enough time on Twitter or Instagram.
Right. Well, I also deal with anxieties and how I want to. I know I always say I deal with anxieties.
Depressed Twitter.
Depressed Twitter.
Yeah, yes. I'm not on normal Twitter.
Twitter really helps me with a lot of things and anxiety and stress, and getting things out of my head instead of dwelling in my head.
Yeah.
It's good for me, and I know a lot of people one of the cons is that it can be too much. Like you said, you see so much success and you feel like you're no good. Why aren't you having all this success?
A lot of times on Twitter, I'm either annoyed because people are too happy or I'm annoyed because they're too angry.
There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of politics right now. There's a lot of problems. I mean, with the virus and whatnot, there's a lot to take in, and that can be very problematic as well. When I go through my Twitter and I curate what I'm looking at, I usually have, they're depressed, but they have some really good points too. Either it's good artwork or they have their good days along with their bad days. I have a collection of people that I admire and have also become my friends, and also colleagues that don't know that I'm their colleague.
Well, let me ask you about this. So
yes.
In terms of comics industry, being a comics professional in social media, which is kind of what we want to talk about, pushing on a half hour here. How do you think Twitter or Instagram or any of these places help you in terms of what you want to accomplish as a comics creator? Whether it's networking or I know you've had opportunities to make money pop up because of social media.
Right. I mean, it's a whole host of things. When it comes to social media, when it comes to Twitter in particular, and also my Instagram, it's always a mixture of what I do plus who I am. So it's always going to be a whole mix of things, from professional to recreational to whatever. And I don't think there's anything. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with it. Of course, I wouldn't. Otherwise, I've got some explaining to do to myself right now. But I don't know. to be successful in some ways, you have to understand your audience and understand other people's audiences.
Yeah. I mean, for a long time, obviously social media in the grand scheme of things is very new still. Um, I mean, it's been 10 years, but publishing's been around for hundreds of years. So,
Right.
For the longest time, it was all about the work you create and the worlds you create and your words and your art. And it was up to a publisher to get it to an audience.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. So now it's about the cult of personality.
Yeah.
So it's like it becomes another level of like interaction that people can have with you and actually get to understand you and have a more personal connection with your work because they know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Or they have a fraction of an idea of who you are. It's whatever you show. That's always.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's always a curated thing, no matter what. Even if there's like people are showing you dark sides of themselves, there's a reason.
I don't know if you can necessarily have like, here's this new book from this new publisher. They're not online at all. We don't really know a whole ton about them. They'll do an interview with the New Yorker or something. Like, I think those days are gone. Like, I think it's gotten to a point where when you pitch something, they actually look at your social media, which is one of the things that scares me because I don't have a ton of followings. I've had 3 successful books. I've sold a lot of books. I have a career. But if they went to my Twitter and they saw me posting New Kids on the Block lyrics and I have 500 followers, they're going to be like, this guy's nobody. And it's weird because my publishing career, my successes, and my social media do not link up. Like, if everybody that bought one of my books followed me on Twitter, I'd have a great following. But I don't. It doesn't add up, and it's kind of a frustration of mine. So I'm trying to course correct and figure out how to fix that failing portion of my own career.
Right, and that's really difficult when potential clients or publishers and whatnot, their interest in you, they might be like, you know what, this person talks about New Kids on the Block a lot.
Yeah.
Not sure about this one.
It's not 1989, Steve. The kids are into Backstreet Boys now.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely social media is good. I definitely think being your genuine self is a good thing, and maybe posting more art than nonsense is probably better. I could learn from that.
I mean, it's tricky because who has these people that post art just every day and they're just like,
right.
I like this new thing. I did some new art, and here's my new warm-up sketch. Here's my cool-down sketch. And they just have art and art and art and art. And I feel like all my time I'm trying to do my webcomic or things that, I'm going to post eventually. I don't have time to just do fan art.
Right. I always think about this, like, I don't have the ability to do these extra little things. I don't have the ability to do artwork for myself anymore. If I'm doing art, it has to be very work-centric.
Yeah.
And it's got to be a commission. It's got to be comics. It's got to be, like, illustration project, stuff I'm getting paid for. Because, I have wrist problems. Mm-hmm. I can only devote so much time to actually drawing in a day if I'm going to do that. I literally cannot draw for myself.
Yeah. I feel like the concept of warm-up and cool-down sketches are literally, I need something I can post on Instagram today.
Oh, I used to think I would do it a couple of times and it would be a little bit of a procrastination, but it also, it does, it helps get your brain going. in the artistic mode, and you could probably get your crap out before you like actually do work. I understand that as an idea of a warm-up, but when we see these warm-ups, they're like full-blown realized like masterpieces. Like, how is this your warm-up?
To be fair, some people can do really good art really fast, and other people take a long time.
I don't hate them. I do wish I had that ability to do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, well, it goes into like people with the good news and only posting like, all my book deals and all my happy things. Some people will post this amazing piece of art and they'll be like, here's a piece of shit I just crapped out of my asshole. And you'd be like, oh, come on, this is really good.
Oh, my biggest pet peeve is when people's like, oh, here's my doodle. And it's like this fully realized, beautifully painted something. And it's like, that's not a fucking doodle. Yeah. You did not do that while you were on the phone with FedEx or something like that. Like, you did not.
You're disgracing the word doodle.
Doodle is the fucking piece of shit that you do while you're on the phone.
Yeah. It's got course. All right, everybody. Well, that is all you ever wanted to know about social media.
And more.
You can follow Depressed Twitter Chan on spookychan.com at spookychan. You can get all the 80s lyrics you want. Follow Steve at Steve Emond on Twitter. And we'll be back for week 4. We're going to talk about Kickstarter. Yeah, you got to have followers to do a Kickstarter.
Apparently.
Hope you enjoyed our show. Send in 12 coupons and get some nifty X-ray specs. Better yet, like, comment, and subscribe to show that you really care.